You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It is your host, Brian Fullerton, here hanging with you guys, and Happy New Year. Hey, it is the first Monday part of the new year of 2023. Just want to say a big congratulations and shout out to all of you guys that, hey, we made it another year. We're going to go into 2023 and hopefully have our best year ever. And I say hopefully, but let's just be real. If you're waiting on luck or hope to have a great year, then you might not totally understand success, if you will. Not that anybody totally understands success, but you know what I'm saying. If you're leaving it up to luck, hope, chance, or just wishful thinking, probably not going to be the most ideal year that you have. So here's what I wanted to do before we get into it today. I do want to talk about making money. I do want to talk about maybe just giving a different take on anybody that might be setting goals. I'm not going to do this whole goal setting type of podcast. We've done those a year or two in a row. We've actually had some great people on talking about goal setting. If you want to learn a little bit more about how to set goals, no joke, no lie, we really did give away the farm and the secret sauce. We had a podcast episode I did a year ago, and then I think 2 years ago, Trisha Dork, and we talked about setting smart goals, how to set goals, all that fun stuff. It really is something that is extremely important to do, and of course, a lot of people recalibrate, during the new year, and I think that's just fine. I mean, there's a lot of people that criticize New Year's goals and New Year's resolutions. You know what? I'm not really that guy to criticize that stuff. I wish more people set more goals. And hey, if there's a big hoopla kind of public event, New Year's, that encourages a bunch of people to reevaluate their life, then I'm all about that. And you know what? I wish they would have set that goal 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, had those resolutions. But you know what? Hey, here's the thing. Compared to a regular day out of the other 365 days a year, out of the 364 days a year, nobody's talking about goal setting New Year's resolutions, thinking about this stuff, generally speaking, in the John Q public. So, if once a year it grabs people's attention and there's 330 million people in America, and you know what, 800,000 people set legit New Year's resolutions and they stick, through with 1 out of every 400 people, whether that's to lose weight, gain, better financial status, better relationship status. Dude, I'm all about that life. Why hate on people that are trying to set New Year's goals or New Year's resolutions? Now, I am more of the camp. I think it's in a great time, any time of the year, to change habits, to establish new habits, to set goals, to change goals, reevaluate goals. Lord knows, we do it constantly in our household. So that, I think, is the more mature way to set goals and have better resolution. After you've already set the resolution, now it's just the commitment to get it done. And then really what commitment is just two things: discipline and perseverance. I mean, at the end of the day, right? I mean, it always comes down to choices. Today, do I want to eat a salad or eat a greasy double cheeseburger? Do I want to spend less than I make and save a little bit, or do I want to run Redline financially? It's a little bit of this, it's a little bit of that. And those are just daily habits, daily commitments. I mean, that's just the truth of it. And then sticking to it long term. So there's your first 2.5 minutes of just solid nuggets. I really do think there's a lot of truth to what I just suggested. Not that I think that it's going to work for you, although it will. The only reason I say that is because I know it'll work because it's worked for me. Right. So what I want to do on this podcast is just talk, Frank, for a few minutes about making money, just to be honest with you, and maybe just give you some different perspective on the topic. I don't want to go super deep, but, here's the thing. A lot has changed in my life the last 5 or 6 years. And there has been a rhyme to the reason. There has been a lot of hard work, a lot of intentionality, a lot of strategic approach to it. And I just want to share some stuff that has helped me, and maybe it can help you. I just wrote down a couple notes on my phone, and I'm hoping that, done right, if you guys take some of the suggestions that I'm making, implement them into your life. Of course, that includes your business. I believe in the next 12, 18, 24 months, you can have some great success. And I think in the next 4 or 5 years, you can really set yourself up for a tremendous financial breakthrough in your life. And I don't mean get rich. I'm just saying make $100,000, $200,000 a year, whatever, and have some comfortability in your life. So here's what I want to do. I have some notes that I wrote down about how we kind of navigated the last 5 or 6 years and how we kind of got to where we are today. And then talk about what we're doing today to get to where we want to be tomorrow and the next year and 2 years from now and 5 years from now, right? And so I got some things I want to just share with you guys, a little bit of a formula that I put together that I think would really help demystify, making money. Because here's the reality, man. When I was 17, 18, 19 years old, I did not know how to make money. And listen, I know some people listening in, maybe you're already past this. Maybe you're in the thick of it. That's fine. Just maybe you can listen in and nod your head in agreement or whatever and say, yep, that's right. But reality is, dude, when we were 15, 17, 18, 20, 25 years old, nobody had taught my wife and I how to make money. Nobody had taught me the secret to success or the formula to build wealth or how to actually make money. It was just an enigma until I was about 19 or 20 years old and a friend of mine gave me Rich Dad Poor Dad. That wasn't the silver bullet. That was the first pebble that diverted the stream that changed my way of thinking about how to approach finances. Right. So the first book was Rich Dad Poor Dad. And really, it was the second book, Cash Flow Quadrant, that really helped me understand just how to make money. And by the way, we're on a podcast. It's all about entrepreneurship. It's all about Lawns Lessons Life. And so that's what I want to do today. We're going to talk about business. We're going to be talking about making money. And so that's what I wanted to do, was maybe break down some of these points for you guys as we go into it. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take a quick sip of water. I've got my good old Uptime here. That's my energy drink of choice. No sugar, of course, because number one, I've always drank no sugar, sugar-free Uptime. So number two, 2023, I'm trying to cut out sugar and cut out pop. That is one of my New Year's goals and resolutions. So could I have done it 3 months ago, 6 months ago? Sure. But at the end of the day, I didn't. And I enjoyed drinking my Cokes. I enjoyed drinking my Mountain Dews. And I knew what I was doing. So this year, I want to get more in shape. It's going to start with some slight habit changes for me. And so I got to fight like hell over the next couple of weeks to break the habit of drinking soda. So I'm going to start with that, including today. So January 1st, as I record this podcast. So I want to do a quick commercial break here. And then also wanted to let you guys know, really, really excited about this, on LawnpreneurAcademy.com. That's our training and resource website where you can get courses on how to start a lawn care business, how to get new customers. We have documents as well and resources like subcontractor agreements, employee handbooks, employee applications, so much more. Just spent about 5 or 6 hours over the last day cleaning up those 3 documents specifically and making sure that they're updated for 2023. But also, I've had a lot of requests for my Spanish-speaking friends out there that want to utilize these resources in their business. So we're going to have those translated over the next 2 weeks. We are putting on those finishing touches to have a lot of our resources, a few of our resources initially, and hopefully long-term more of them, translated to Spanish, which I had a lot of people requesting for the employee handbook, the employee application, and then the subcontractor agreement. So look for those in El Español, or whatever is the best way to say it in Spanish. So also, just a little tease here. I do have the finishing touches, the first draft completed on my book. The working title is I'm not going to reveal it just yet, but just a little teaser out there. I'm really, really excited about getting this story out there. Look for that coming in the next 30, 45, maybe 60 days. Hopefully by February or March, we will have it available on ebook, paperback, and then also on audiobook. Also, we will be having it translated in Espanol. So it'll be in Spanish for those of you guys that are looking to start a lawn care business. That's going to be the basic point of this book that we're releasing, and 2 more books to follow after that. So there's a lot of great things going on LawnpreneurAcademy.com. Also, we have 2 or 3 more resources, including the LAL 2022 live video replay and recap that is going to be available for purchase. So if you guys didn't make it to LAL 2022, that'll be available here by the end of January. And then we have 2 or 3 more resources that'll be released in February and March. Very, very excited about this. We're talking about making money. That's the goal. That's the idea here with this content, with my content, everything that we're going to be talking about in 2023, because I want you guys to make the most amount of money possible with the least amount of effort. Or number 2, make the most amount of money possible while still putting in the most amount of effort possible to really double down and get ahead. Because I know how hard we've been working these last few years. I've seen so many of you guys working so hard these last few years, and I want to make sure that we explode with profitability in 2023, okay? So that's going to be the theme. That's going to be the name of the game. A lot of our content is going to be focused on making money. That's what we're here for. We're not here to mow tall grass or entertain or do stupid stuff on our social media content. I want to 100% stay pure to the voice of what we do, which is just real, authentic lawn care and helping you guys grow a more successful business. Can I get an amen? So we're not about clicks. We're not about views. We're all about making an impact. That's what it's all about. So let me do this really quick. Let me clear my throat. I'm going to get a quick sip of the Uptime Blood Orange. Anybody wants to send a couple cases to P.O. Box 930233, Wixom, Michigan 48393. Checks in the mail, right? You can do that. Just having fun. So let's do this really quick. Let's kick it over to Marty, Mr. Producer, down in the ATL, and we will come right on back.
Have you ever thought about starting your own lawn and landscaping business, but not sure where to start? Look no further than LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com, an e-training website dedicated to helping you start and grow a successful lawn care business. Save more time and make way more money by learning exactly what it takes to grow your business to the next level. Invest in your future by first investing in yourself. Use promo code PODCAST to save 10% on all training programs today at LawnTrepreneurAcademy.com. Now, back to the show.
All right, guys, let's jump right back into it here. So what I wanted to do for just a few quick minutes here is talk to you guys about the building blocks. And I don't know if that's going to be a title anywhere on this podcast episode, but that's what I wrote down on my notepad for my phone. So here's the deal. Where this whole conversation stemmed from was a couple different things. I'm on Instagram, I'm on social media. A lot of people are saying, I can't wait to make more money, or I'm going to make more money in 2023. And I'm all about that. I encourage that. Money's not our God, but it's the topic that we're talking about, obviously, in business is let's have a more successful business. But at the end of the day, a lot of people right now are, I'm going to make more money and I'm going to crush it. And I'm going to set these lofty goals. And there's a lot of people that in 2022 that made $42,000 and they're like, I'm going to make $400,000 in 2023 or $4 million in 2023. And while I'm not here to poo-poo on anybody's parade, I have very rarely seen anybody go from $40,000, $50,000 a year to $4 million a year. It's not typically the trajectory that happens for the regular average or above average person, okay? Somebody who's on a success pattern, right? You will see explosions of wealth through people with their companies, but there was a reason for that explosive growth. And we're going to get into that in just a quick second, because you can go from 40 grand to 4 million, but that's because somebody laid the foundation for a couple of years and then that explosive rocket was able to take off and things exponentially grew like crazy by design. But if you just think happenstance, chance, excuse me, that you're just going to walk into doubling or tripling or quadrupling your income this year, I've got news flash. It's probably not going to work that way. Instead, what I wanted to do is help you guys understand really how to make money. Really, and that's related to me personally, how I've done it. I'm not your financial guru. I am not a clickbait guru. I am not a content creator guru. I'm not a wealth creation Instagram page, none of that garbage. I want to just literally tell you what I did to make more money over the last 5 or 6 years, and physically how we did it, practically how we did it, and prove to you that it works, prove to you that it makes sense, okay? And here's what I want you guys to maybe take away from this is, if you can start today doing the exact same things, it's not a get rich quick, but over the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you can start building wealth. Now, here's a quick thing. That might discourage a couple people because you're looking for I want to go from 30,000 to 130,000 this year. Give me the secret. I can't. I cannot do that. If somebody's offering to do that, you may want to evaluate seriously what they're doing and potentially run, because typically they're trying to sell you something. Okay, they're trying to sell you a dream. They're trying to sell you a business opportunity. They're trying to get a recruiting fee, a franchise fee, a whatever fee. And I'm not putting anybody down. I'm just saying, what's the ulterior motive? Well, for me, I don't have anything to really sell you. I have some things that I could offer you that are going to empower you, but I don't have anything to sell you to get you to invest in anything that I'm doing. Everything we do, we arguably give it away for free besides our training courses, okay? So let me talk about this real quick. Going from 30 grand to 130 grand or whatever, I can't really help you do that. Unless you want to get a sales job, a high commission sales job, working for somebody else. getting some good territory, having a good product, and just beating the streets and just working it like crazy. Yeah, you could definitely go chisel out a 6-figure income at a job this year. And you know what? That might be a right approach for some people. Okay, I know people that have went bankrupt and they had to pay off a chunk of debt. And the best way to do it was have stable income with high commission, sales opportunity, and they were able to crush it, and then they got back in the business. There's nothing wrong with that. But here's what I wanted to write down. I just got some notes. Again, I'm not a guru with the 7-step approach. I'm just telling you practically what I did these last few years. All right. Can you guys just give me some latitude? Can I just get some slack, some grace here? I'm not the guru. We have a podcast, but I'm one of you guys. I'm literally just another dude out here, and I'm telling you exactly what I'm doing to make more money. And by the way, we have made more money. We've grown our income $50,000 per year on top of what we have in the last 5 years in a row. So I think we're doing okay. But again, not crazy trajectory, not poverty either. Okay. So let me do this really quick. Talking about making more money, I'm going to call them building blocks. Building blocks are, to me, assets. And really simply, the more building blocks that you can build over time, the more assets that you can build over time, the more money, generally speaking, you're going to make. Let's talk about really quick the inverse. If you have a job and you're trading time for money, which many of us know, we've learned from Rich Dad, Poor Dad, there's only so much time in a day, right? As an employee or even a self-employed person, right? You can only work so much time in a day. Whether you're, somebody working at an Amazon fulfillment center making $17 an hour, 40 hours a week, you're making, $750 a week. Fantastic. Whether you're an engineer getting billed out at $48 an hour, okay? $50 an hour times 40 hours a week, you're making $2,000 a week. That's $100,000 a year. Awesome. And you can work some overtime, and you can work some 60, 70 hour weeks. You can work some 80, 90 hour weeks. It's not sustainable long-term. You can do that for a season, but we all know that. We've all been there working 70, 80 hours a week. It catches up with you after about 3 or 4 weeks of that, doesn't it? AKA the spring rush. So trading time for money, what are you invariably capped at? How much time you can trade for money? Now, again, you can be a doctor, a surgeon, getting paid $800 an hour, or maybe they get paid more. I don't know. I'm not a surgeon. But again, what are they limited to? How many patients they can see, how much time they can trade, and how many surgeries they can do in a day, a week, a month, a year. And you know what? They might make $400,000, but they're working 80 hours a week. Or even if they're established, they've got a practice, they've got a couple people working, fantastic. They're working 15 hours a week. They only take appointments on Mondays and Thursdays. Dude, that's fine. But what are they still tied to? Time. They're still tied to seeing the patient and doing the work. This is like rudimentary, ground level 1 making money, okay? There's trading time for money, and then there's building assets, and assets make you money. Now, when people think assets, they start thinking, I got to have real estate or businesses or car washes or Jimmy John's franchises or whatever's. And you start thinking big things. You start thinking grandiose things. At least I did. I was like, bro, I don't have $40,000 for a franchise fee for a Jimmy John's, and I got to buy 2 restaurant minimum, and each one's $300,000. I don't have any money to buy Wings Etceteras or Wing Streets or, pick your franchise of choice. I don't have any money to buy, 7 Fantastic Sams or 3, Supercuts or whatever. I don't have any money to buy 3 car washes that, take coins and they're all $3 million each with, today's overhead. I didn't have any of that money. But here's the deal. You don't have to. We're talking about having a lawn care business, and we're talking about building blocks. Okay. When you start a business of your own, number one, if you want to succeed, you have to. If you want to make more than $100,000 a year, or, work with me here, but if you want to have the opportunity, the best chance for an upside, you have to start with a business of your own. It's like, you're not even in the game. Like if you want to go 200 miles an hour or 140 miles an hour in a car, you just can't do it in a Ford Focus, right? Like you could be in 6th gear in a Ford Focus. You're going to still tap out at, $1.05. At least if you're in a Ferrari, which is a business, and you know what? You can take that Ferrari and you can be in 1st gear going 60 miles an hour. That's fine with me. The reality is like, the Focus will never go 200 miles an hour, no matter how hard you try, no matter how much NOS and how many laptops you put in there. Just kidding. But the reality, that's an interesting statement because that's what people do their jobs. I got a great job. Well, what makes a great job a great job? It's like having golden handcuffs. They're still handcuffs, right? Is one of the popular lines people will say. So you go to the business, okay? You have a business of your own. It's a lot. It's hard. It's a grind. It takes time. But you at least have the opportunity to go 200 miles an hour or build wealth or create a great cash flowing asset, right? So point number one, assets make income. And those are little building blocks. And it doesn't have to be, I've got 17 businesses. It can be, you know what? I've got a business with 17 little building blocks, 17 little sources of income, 17 lawn customers. Each one does $1,500 a year in revenue, $2,000 a year in revenue, $3,000 a year in revenue between lawn and snow. And so some people, they think they overcomplicate success. They overcomplicate making money. I am not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I am decent at math. And I've realized, like, if I want a certain lifestyle, it requires a certain income. To get a certain income, I need a certain amount of business to create a certain amount of, have a certain amount of assets, a certain amount of streams of income that are going to offset enough revenue that creates me enough profit that then nets me then income that then buys my lifestyle. I've said this for years. And for the 1 out of 100, the 1 out of 1,000 that are listening, I'm giving you the secret. It's nothing more complicated than building tiny little micro sources of income and having these incomes over time grow, compound, gain momentum, and provide you the lifestyle that you want. That's the hard truth that so many people don't want to stomach. They think, buy this course, make 6 figures. I'm going to get into real estate and start selling and slinging homes and getting $12,000 commissions, and then getting only half of that, and then only keeping a third, 2/3 of that. And then I get taxed and I only make a third of that. It's like everybody's got their secret. It's like nobody wants to do the thing that actually produces the results, ironically enough, like working out. If you want to get fit, dude, eat clean and go work out and go lift moderately. Go do cardio moderately for 4 or 5 days a week, eat clean, and in 60 to 90 days, you'll notice results personally. 60 to 90 days results, your spouse will notice results. And in 60 to 90 days, the public will notice results. But that's a 6-month process. But nobody wants to tell you that. They want to sell you a pill, sell you a potion, sell you a resource, sell you a course, sell you a training program, sell you a membership. Look, I'm not here to do any of that. I'm here to just literally tell you guys straight up, if you want to start making money, you have to start building these little tiny building blocks. And it starts with one customer. It starts with one rep. It starts with one I love you with your spouse if you want to have a great relationship, right? It's these little tiny building blocks that you have to build daily and maintain daily and grow daily that are going to eventually compound over time to give you the lifestyle that you want. Let me give you, for instance, we're talking about a lawn care customer. And like I said earlier, it only does $3,000 a year in revenue. And you're only getting like $20 lawns or $40 lawns, right? Like back in the day, grass stained $20 bills, ha, ha, ha. And everybody looks at a Troy Clark and they go, holy cow, this guy's making, he's got a $10 million company or whatever the number is, right? And they're like, dude, that means he's got like 4 accounts doing $2.5 million. No. Maybe this is obvious, but I'm just going slow for myself. If I was listening to this thing 10, 15 years ago and I was dumb as a stump and I just didn't know, this would have been a lifeline for me. But here's the reality. Troy doesn't have, if he's got a $10 million company, he doesn't have 4 accounts that are doing $2.5 million. He's got 1,400 accounts or whatever. And the biggest one might be a 7-figure account. And then he might have a bunch of 6-figure accounts. And then he might have a bunch of $50,000 accounts. And then he's got 400 accounts that are all 10,000s. And then he's got 400 more accounts that are 5,000s. And then he's got 400 more accounts that are 1,500s. And at the end of the day, if you want to be successful, you think, I got to get 4 accounts at $2.5 million each to do $10 million. And then other people who understand the basic concept of what I'm teaching, they're not looking for that stuff. They'll take it. Of course, they're open to it. But really, they're like, hey, I need $1,500 account, $1,500 account, $5,000 account, $5,000 account, $10,000 account, $10,000 account. And what is that? That's a $40 mow, a $40 weekly mow, a $40 weekly mow, an $800 mulch job, an $800 mulch job, a $750, snow contract, a $750 annual snow contract, $240 per ton applied, salt application, times 100 of those, times 1,000 of those, right? It's like that little $40 cut, or back in the day, $20 grass stain money, as people used to call it, would criticize it. But those little 20s add up. And I always say, thousands are nothing more than hundreds, hundreds are nothing more than 20s, and 20s are nothing more than dollars. And people dismiss that. And they're like, bro, I need the $50,000 hardscape job, outdoor living space patio, because that's all you see on social media. And so many people poo-poo on the little tiny building blocks, the little tiny jobs, the little tiny, and you don't need the little tiny stuff to get rich. You can do it's all relative, right? You can do nothing but $10,000 jobs or $50,000 jobs. But people are like, oh, we did $1.5 million with our company this year. Okay. You're not doing 5 $300,000 hardscape jobs. You did 22 $25,000 hardscape jobs or whatever, right? So it's these little micro tiny building blocks that, number one, I just see, this is the first lesson, that people just gloss over what these little building blocks actually are, what success really is. It's not big numbers. It's little things that add up, these little decisions, these little habits, these little building blocks that over time, and obviously we're talking New Year's right now, over a year's time, they start to add up and it provides an incredible result. It can be an incredible income result. It can be an incredible relationship result. You're in love with your wife and you're happy, you're swoon. An incredible fitness result. You got 15% or less body fat. You're benching 225, and you're able to run a sub 8 minute mile, whatever, right, for a 30-year-old male. It's all those little micro decisions every single day. A great book on this is The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Absolutely one of my favorite books. I read this book about 6 years ago. Changed my life. The couple books that changed my life 6 years ago: Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, The One Thing by, I think it's Gary Williams or Keller Williams, and then The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. Those 3 or 4 books, just a little bit ago, changed my life 5-6 years ago. They didn't change my life 5 or 6 years ago in terms of the outward success that we've had, and success is relative, but they changed my thinking into what I needed to do 5 or 6 years ago for the next 5 or 6 years. Right. And so a lot of people are like, well, what's the best time to plant a tree, today or yesterday is the joke. When's the best time to plant a tree, a year ago or yesterday or 30 years ago? Okay. What's the second best time? Today. Okay. So if you haven't been making good choices, you haven't been making great decisions, you haven't been adding little building blocks to build your wealth over the last 5 or 6 years or whatever, or the last 12 months, let's keep it, small and relative, then start today. Start today. The secret isn't courses or potions or thises or that's. It's micro little decisions every single day that are going to compound and make the big changes once they start growing year after year, and really when they start compounding and exponentially grow over 3 to 5, maybe 10 to 20 years, right? Like look at Warren Buffett and his wealth. And I don't know his whole life story, but in the 60s, he's, got $100,000. In the 70s, he's got, a couple $100,000. In the 80s, he's got a couple million. In the 90s, he's worth 10 million. In the 2000s, he was worth, 50 million. And then all of a sudden, because of compounding, not because of he was doing the same little amount of work every single day. And of course, he had some good luck, some good wins, some good deals that came through. Of course, those are the big ones. But at the end of the day, he probably just did the same little bit of investing strategy every single day for decades. And just with compounding, right? In the 2000s, he's worth, $1 billion. In 2010, he's worth $10 billion. And in 2020, the dude's worth $100 billion. If he just keeps, I think he's already like 80, 85. Hopefully, if the guy lives to 100 or something, right? What do you think he's going to be worth in 2030? I would imagine $500 billion or $300 billion, right? With that compounding effect. So he still has to make the same good decisions. They have to keep making the same, daily effort and daily decisions. But the compounding is exponential. And I'm going to get into that here in a second. A quick way that I interpreted it, and this was just an original thought. Maybe it can help you, maybe it doesn't. But this is something that I realized 5 or 6 years ago. It probably more was a thought that I developed from Grant Cardone in one way, shape, or form. But for all my real estate people that are, how do you get to 12,000 doors or apartment buildings or units? I should say units, like a Grant Cardone, and pick your guy, dude. And there's a million other people like Grant that have 1,000 apartments, 200 single family homes, 800 doors, 1,500 doors, 5,000 doors. As you guys would imagine, they all started with one single family home or one fourplex or one eightplex, and they just let it compound over time. Every year they added 4 single family homes, and after 20 years they have, 20 times 20 is 400, right? They bought 20 homes, and they started with 1, then they bought 3, then they bought 5, then they did 10, then they did 20, then they got smart with financing and deals and investments, and bankers and opportunities showed up where somebody had 50 homes or 20 homes and they were able to buy more. And there's that compounding, but they had to prove themselves for 5 or 6 years. And then there's a compounding effect that happened later. but they all started with one. They all started with today. They all started with the first lawn customer, the first, book that they wrote, the first deal, right? Like Chicken Soup for the Soul. There's, I don't know, 20, 30, 40, 50 books. I don't even know. I know nothing about the Chicken Soup for the Soul series, but the guy or the girl, whoever it is, they started with one. Then they started with two, then three. And Lord of the Rings started with one book, then two, then three, right? And then the Twilight, one, and then two, and then three, right? And let those compound. But they kept writing every single day to make another book. What I wanted to talk about was filling up a pool. If you want to fill up a pool, and I've talked about this on a show before, is that there's multiple ways to fill up a pool. Water in the pool, just a regular swimming pool here in your backyard. You can fill it up with 8 garden hoses. You can fill it up with, 2 thicker hoses, pool hoses or something like that. They have a good water source. Maybe 1 or 2 fire hoses, coming from the fire hydrant, putting, 1,000 gallons a minute. Or you can have a tanker truck come back through, and that tanker truck can drop 5,000 gallons in your pool in, 20 minutes or 2 hours or whatever it does. I don't know. I don't have a pool. But there's no right or wrong answer with how you necessarily fill up the pool. Are 8 garden hoses more or less effective than 3 big hoses versus 1 fire hose versus 1 tanker truck? I mean, everybody would like to have the tanker truck. That's what everybody's looking for. They're looking for the tanker truck. The problem is that you're never going to get there right off the rip, because it's just how life works, man. I don't know how to articulate it, but success, like, you have to put in your dues. You have to. God's not going to give you more than you can steward. And so people are like, it's the parable of the talents. I've talked about this on podcasts before. You're not just going to ramp up and somebody just, give you a $5,000, gallon tanker truck to fill up your pool. Very rarely is somebody going to pass away and give somebody $100 million. Or even if they did, you wouldn't really want it, because you don't know how to manage that wealth. You don't know how to manage that responsibility, that opportunity. And it goes back to the lottery people, right? Like people that win $1 billion, like 99% of them are broke. Not because of the amount of money. It's just they took bad habits, bad decisions, bad thought process into managing something that was obviously 1/1,000,000th their pay grade, and they squandered it. And it wasn't because they're bad people or evil people or drugs or alcohol or, whatever. It's just that they didn't know how to manage it. You have to build that muscle up to be able to manage that stuff. And so let's go back to filling up the pool. It's just like with lawn customers. Let's say you want to fill up this pool, and you can get the, $30,000 a year municipality account. That's the big tanker truck, and that's awesome. Or maybe that's a fire hose, and then maybe you get a FedEx shipping center with lawn and snow, and it's $80,000, or that big apartment complex around town that's $80,000. That's fine, that's cool. And frankly, that's what everybody's looking for. They're looking for the big fish. And I'm not opposed to that, because there's some benefits to that. Less headaches, 1 account instead of 20 accounts, 1 person to bill instead of 20 people to bill. Like I get it. There's some truth to that. But at the end of the day, people just brush off having the $40 mow or the $2,500 little patio renovation, or the, little $5,000 account that you're managing for the lawn and snow for the year, right? You have to start building these little building blocks, and that's what the little garden hoses are for your business, for your pool. If you have 10 customers, then 15 customers, then 20 customers, then 50 customers, and 100 customers, right? You're adding these hoses to fill up that pool. And again, you might have 20 garden hoses, you might have 3 fire hoses, 1 bigger hose, and then one tanker truck or 2 tanker trucks. Like, to me, that's a diversified source of income. That's a diversified business. If anybody's walking around and they step on a hose, on one of your 12 garden hoses filling up your pool, and they kink the hose, like, your pool is still filling up. That hose is out of commission for, it could be a minute, could be a day, could be a week, a month, a year, who knows? But you're still filling up the pool. And that's the point. Like, you can trade time for money, or you can build assets, and assets create income. That's the definition of assets: creating income and hopefully, typically, appreciating in value. And so when you're talking about making more money, I don't want you to think I need car washes and apartment buildings and, freaking McDonald's franchises. And, I know this guy in town, he's got 60 Taco Bells. Dude, that's cool. Like, he didn't start there. The guy owned a painting business, made some money, or he happened to work at a restaurant that, started offering franchises, and he was the first one in. But there's a story there. You don't just start with 60 freaking Taco Bells. Okay? So what I want to talk about is, in the beginning, to make money, to start building wealth, and creating income, it's start with these little micro building blocks. It's just getting customers, getting great pricing, and starting to build this network. It doesn't have to be all these different franchises and business and crazy stuff, okay? Now, the lawn care business itself doesn't have to be your only business. Many people know that and say that. All too often, I see people diverting attention to business 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 without really spending enough time to solidify business number 1. See it all the time, especially with social media. I mean, like, you whether it's lawn care people or anything else, they have a moderate amount of success, and they start, diversifying into creating content, and then it's not as easy as people think. It's not as easy as people think. And also, sometimes there's just more money to be made just growing your lawn and landscaping business. I mean, we've grown our lawn care business by like $75,000 of revenue in 2022, and we made $110,000 profit. Like, we didn't forget about building business 1 while we were building business number 2. And so I don't want people to be like, oh, the secret to success is just social media or apartment buildings or real estate or this. It's like, no, dude, you can still make money with your lawn landscaping business. In fact, you should be. And how to balance both, that's a whole other conversation for a whole other time. But my point is, continue to build business number 1. Let me write down or read this quick list I had. Number 1, become someone who builds assets. These are just some quick tips. Don't just be somebody who goes and starts building assets, or you're like, hey, I got to go do something. Like, become somebody who starts building assets. Start investing and educating yourself as somebody who wants to create money and build wealth, right? Like, the easiest way I can always say it is like, somebody wants to go work out and eat clean versus somebody who sees himself as a healthier person. It's different. Like, oh, I go work out and I go eat right. Okay, that's great. That's fine. But the person who's going to win long-term is the person who sees themselves as making lifestyle changes. I mean, right? Like, you can get that. I get that. You get that. Like, that's a common sense thing. Like, somebody who saves $5 versus somebody who's more conservative with their money. I'm not saying frugal. I hate frugal people. I hate cheap people. They're no better than people that are wealthy and also don't spend any money. Like, there's a balance. But frugality will not get you wealthy. Saving money alone won't get you wealthy either. But there is a balance between somebody who is more conservative with their finances and lives below their means. Now, by the way, you can make $200,000 a year, have $60,000 in expenses, make $140,000 a year, and still blow $30,000 on stupid stuff. You still conserved $110,000 or whatever the math was, and saved 50-60% of your income. And I know other people at length that will, until they're blue in the face, tell other people that frugality is the way to go, while they make $40,000 a year and save $3,000, and they saved 9% of their income, right? Like, it's just, be careful who you take advice from and who you guys listen to out there on the blogosphere, okay? You can still be conservative with your finances and still have some lifestyle and still eat out once in a while and, buy a nicer vehicle. Like, I'm not so concerned about living so below my means and being frugal to put my wife in a Honda Civic, okay? I didn't do that. I lived very conservatively and still spent $100,000 on a car for my wife and my baby and getting the Tesla. And we still saved double that last year in 2020 or whatever it was, right? So you can still be conservative and still spend some money. Little side rant. But number 1, be somebody who starts to become success-oriented, success-conscious. You start pouring into you. Water sinks to its own level. It rises to its own level, right? And if you're just like, hey, 2023, I'm going to be a success-minded person and guru, and I'm going to just buy assets. Like, yes, that's in theory what you need to do, or build assets. That's in theory what you need to do, but really you need to start building the foundation mentally about who you are, what you do, what you believe in, right? So people that are like, I'm going to go from $30,000 a year to $130,000 a year. Now with that same value system, you aren't. Not with that same belief system, you aren't, right? You have to work on you first, because there's just dissonance. You don't know how to go from $30,000 to $130,000 a year. I didn't. I mean, I know now how to do it, but back then, 5-6 years ago, I didn't. So instead of me focusing on, growing my income exponentially, like looking up and outward, I looked down and started doing work. And I knew that if I just did this work would get me to where I wanted to go. Does that make sense? Like, so many people they just approach success completely wrong. They're like, I'm going to make more money. I'm like, how? Like, well, I'm going to do more. And I'm like, well, it's actually not the case. It's not how you get wealthy. You actually do less. You do more of the right work. And that's about 10 to 20% of your actual effort. Like, you don't have to just grind and toil and tumultuate. Like, it's not how you build wealth. It's not how you make real money. That's what I had to learn 5-6 years ago. I had to change my mind. I had to change my thinking. I got that from many books and many people, many podcasts. But so many people like, I'm going to do more. I'm like, well, actually, I'm going to do less. And it's not do less to do less in the name of saying I'm doing less than you. It's I'm going to focus on the right things. That's the crazy question. Nobody asks the right questions. Like, what levers do you need to pull to make more money, to have better relationships, to be in a more effective XYZ, to get your lawn care business to grow, to get your whatever to grow? It's not just work on the altar of work, to sacrifice on the altar of work, or commitment to sacrifice on the altar of commitment, or I lost more sleep than anybody I know. Dude, I slept a lot in 2022. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not about that message. I'm all about people working smart. Yes, working hard, but yes, working smart, but being effective. Okay. And you know what? Again, I'm not here to sell you anything. I can't tell you exactly what works for you. I'm just sharing with you guys exactly what's worked for me these last 5 years. Like Liz and I, we've built little micro assets in the lawn care business. What did we do the last 5 years? Well, we took a fledgling lawn care business that had low customers, a lot of customers, too many customers. We had too many customers, 125 customers, and all of them were doing, $500-800 a year. What we did is we multiple things. As you guys know my story, but if you're new, like we pruned off a route, boom, sold off 20-25 customers. Number 2, we started raising rates. We raised rates and we worked on route density. We raised rates and worked on route density. Raised rates, worked on route density. Then we got less and less customers. We went from 120 to like 100 to 90 to about 85. And what we did is we added a little bit of labor. We added another person or 2 people. We were able to increase production while we were increasing prices, had a compound effect of higher revenue. We got out of debt, which cut overhead, which then both of those with the higher prices and the reduced overhead increased our profitability 2-fold, 3-fold, whatever it is, right? So we went from not making a lot of revenue, having a lot of debt, and not any profit to less customers, high prices, high profit, less overhead, way more profit. And that's all we did the last 5 years. But we had to do that microscopically every single day. We were turning the spaceship. We were turning the aircraft carrier 1/10 of 1 degree every day. It wasn't a hard left. It wasn't a hard right. It wasn't an overnight thing. It was every year we raised by $2 per customer. And we got rid of 5 or 10 people. We raised the prices by $2 to $5 and got rid of, 5 to 10 people. And people like saying it out loud, you're like, dude, make it more complicated. Sell me the dream. I'll pay $49.95 for the answer. I'll pay $7.95 for my master course. But today, if you only buy it right now for $4.99, or actually for $37, like people want it to be more complicated. They want to buy something. They want to buy, what would you guys call it, man? They want to buy, they want to say that they're on the path of success, but they're looking in all the wrong places. And that's it's just so disheartening to me. We cut some customers, we raised our prices, and we got more profitable. We got more profitable by cutting the fat, cutting the overhead, and paying off debt. It wasn't anything. There's no special formula there. There's no, 10,000 year leap that was attached to that. There wasn't this overnight transformative success, right? It doesn't work that way. When you go to the gym, you continue to add little 2.5 plates onto the barbell, right? You add 1 little half mile an hour per hour more on the treadmill, right? Like it's these little things that just continuously compound, right? And I saw a meme once or a comment once. It was like the heaviest weight in the gym, the heaviest weight or the heaviest plate in the gym is the 2.5, the 2.5 pound plate. And some of you guys listening in are like, amen to that. Because when you go from 225 to 230, it feels like you only added 5 pounds or 2.5s, right? The little plate, but it makes all the difference. On that last 225, you got 8 reps, and on the 230, you can barely get 4. You're like, dude, all I added was 5 pounds. All I added was, I don't know. I mean, what is that? 5%, 3%? You added 2% more weight, 2.5% more weight, 1% more weight, and you added 1% more weight, and it gassed you out. And that's success right there. everybody's like, oh, dude, add 10 pounds or 20 pounds or 40 pounds. Dude, add 1% more effort and it'll gas you out. And then people are looking around like, hey, no, dude, like you need this special supplement, the special meal plan, the special liver, the special whatever. And that'll push you through. And then the real bodybuilders are there every day. They're adding 1 to 2 pounds, 1 to 2 pounds. Not necessarily every day, but every week, every month, 2 pounds, 2 pounds, 2 pounds. And over 5 years, they're benching 400 or whatever, 405. So number one, become a person that is somebody who builds assets and is trying to work on becoming successful. Don't just look for success. Become somebody who is a successful person. I said, number two, build as many assets as you can, as quickly as you can, right? Customers, so many people are like customers and love and loyalty and relationships and appreciation and all this stuff. It's fine. It's cool. It's true. Like, yes, you have to treat the customer right. But at the end of the day, they're just garden hoses. And I'm not trying to like diminish the relationships that we've established. I love my customers. My customers love me. But have you guys noticed customers come and go? People come and go. By the way, Target, like they send you like little loyalty rewards and thank you for shopping with us, but they don't care. Your numbers, they're just statistics. Sometimes you just have to realize like customers are going to come and go. Just build that net as quickly as you can. Get 100 customers, get high pricing, get high profit, pay off your equipment. And I'm not trying to like trivialize what it is either. But people all the time say like, Brian, it took you 10 years to like get to zero. And like 5 years later, like you're doing okay. Like what's the difference? I'm like, I overcomplicated it. I was so caught up in things that didn't make sense or that weren't important. Exmark versus Skag, Red Max versus Steel, stand on versus sit down. Dude, like ironically enough, those are all of my best performing videos on YouTube. And it's just, and every time I'm like, hey, the real secret is like this. And everybody's like, no. What I like Kawasaki versus Kohler, EFI versus carbureted. And I'm like, oh, dude, like, if you want to get lost in the business of being a business owner, that's fine. I'm more lost in the idea of building something that provides an income to pay for a lifestyle, to take care of my wife and kids, to have fun. Like I used to be so in the thick of my business and like was guarded or jaded on every single topic or point or opinion. The reality is like, dude, it's a business. Nobody cares. Like it's there to create a source of income. Step out of it for a minute. Stop being so proud of like what you've built and just realize like instead of being so proud of what you built, be a little less proud about what you built, but go build 3 more of those and the income you make will make you so much more proud of the lifestyle you can provide for your wife and kids. Man. All right, number 3. I'm not telling you guys what to do. I'm telling you what worked for me. Number 3, 80-20, your biggest sources of income. It's the Pareto principle. Every year I go through the list of incomes I have from all of my long customers to all my social media crap to whatever. What was the big fish? What was the whale? What was the biggest source of income? What was the tanker truck? What was the whatever? I don't diminish all the little garden hoses. You need those too, because I'm a very diversified person. Like I don't have all my eggs in any one basket of anything. I would advise nobody to ever do that, right? People are like, I want 10 lawn care customers that all do 100 grand of like in big accounts, and that's $1 million income. Sure, until you lose one account, and now you're down to 90. You lose 2 other anchor accounts, and now you're down to 70. Instead of having 100 accounts, 5 are big fish, 3 of them are smaller, medium-sized fish, and 20 are the small fish, right? Like prepay snow, flat rate monthly snow, per charge, per application, per snow, per push snow. Reload charge customers with snow, like, residential, like 5 pushes, then like after 5, we charge for 5 more. That's fine. But, residential versus commercial prepay, commercial flat rate, commercial per push, residential prepay, residential per push, residential reload, right? 20 grand up front, 20 grand a month, 20 grand per snowstorm. I don't know. Like diversify 20 different ways to Sunday. Okay. You do you. That's just how I operate. Number 3, 80-20 those customers. The Pumpkin Plan book is a great book. I think that's Michalowicz. He's got a bunch of great books. Some people like some of the stuff that he says. Some people don't like some of the stuff that he says. Like, but the Pumpkin Plan was a great book. There is a point where not all customers are created equal, right? Not all these little building blocks or sources of income are created equal. You can get by, like, instead of having 80 lawn customers and 40 snow customers, you could have that are different. So you have 120 customers. You could have 60 lawn customers that are also 60 snow accounts. And you could have the same 120 worth of services, 160 springs and summers and 60 falls and winters versus 80-40, right? It's easier to manage 60 that get everything than 120 that get half and half. That's something that I'm doing, for example, like commercial accounts that have snow and salt, cleanups, fert, mowing, irrigation, mulch, and fert, if I didn't say that. Like those are 8 out of 8, 9 out of 9, 10 out of 10, hedge trimming, fall cutbacks. Those are 10 out of 10 services. The commercial accounts that are, hey, we do snow but no salt, we do mowing but no mulch, we do no cutbacks, no irrigation, no fert. Those are not long-term clients of mine. I want full service accounts. And again, this takes time. It takes 5, 10 years to 20 years to get, customers like these, right? Like specific customers. And in the beginning, get these like just, ridiculous, like ugly customers, the ugly duckly customers. I don't know what you want to call them. And they got one of this, one of that, one of this, one of that, one of this. And you're like, oh, and then they're slow payers, right? And you're always pruning, you're always dialing it in for these customers, right? But I'm 80-20ing my route because I have residentials. All they get is mowing. Those people, now loyalty to like some of my initial, very, very first customers, I have some loyalty to that. But again, at the end of the day, I have more loyalty though to my family. So unfortunately, those customers are on the chopping block potentially, right? But if a customer is just $800 a year of mowing, and then have another customer at $800 a year of mowing and $300, $400, $500 of, or whatever, fert, $300, $400, $500 of mulch, irrigation startup or blowout. They want an aeration. They want a spring and fall cleanup. Like that customer's worth $2,400 versus an $800 mowing account. Now, here's the tough part. Here is the genuine tough part. When somebody gets $1,200 of lawn, but then they do $1,200 of snow and salt, right? Like that, some of you guys can relate to that. You're like, yeah, I have something like that. Where you're like, they don't get anything else, but they do snow. Well, it's like, do you want high income, 2/3 of your income in the summer, 1/3 in the winter? Do you want 50 in the summer, 50 in the winter? It's a balancing act. It's kind of a wash. The honest answer, the real answer, the long-term answer is both of them need to go. You need to find somebody that does lawn and snow and has, 8 out of 8 services, 10 out of 10 services. But in which way? 80-20. For example, I make more money on our commercials than I do on my residentials. We went from having we had a Monday commercial, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday residential. Then we got rid of our residentials on Friday because we did auxiliary services on Friday and just had more time off and just kept us healthier and more alert and less exhausted. Then we went from Monday commercial to Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday residential. And then we started getting more commercial inquiries. So now we have a full day commercial on Monday. We already have a half day commercial on Tuesday. We are now going to let go of half of our Tuesday route this year in 23 and replace them with the commercial accounts that are full service. Because I've got a bunch of great commercial that are full service, snow and salt. And then when we can have more commercial that are doing the lawn, the fur, the irrigation, that's stout. Like we make more in salt and snow than we do with lawn. So I have much more loyalty to the commercial accounts that get snow and salt. They has to get the salt. If they don't get the salt and I just get snow only, I couldn't care less. Snow only is 1/3 of the 2/3 compared to salt when you're talking about snow income, right? So there's all these little micro evaluations when we're building these little micro building blocks. Any which way. So this year, we're going to go all commercial Monday, most likely all commercial Tuesday. We have a banger route density, 34, 38 lawns that we do on our Wednesday, plus the HOA, which is kind of commercial. That's a $1,600, $1,700 day by 4 o'clock. It's insane with 2 guys. We crush it that day. That's a good day. Our Mondays are 12 to 1,300. We got room to improve there. Tuesdays, about the same thing. We got room to improve. And then on Thursday, we have about 25 or 26 25 or 26 residential. We can grow another 5 or 6, no problem. And that would be another $1,200 to $1,400 day. If we can do $1,500 a day, every day in production, I would be very, very happy with that. And that would be a great 2-man team for the main route, the main rig. All right. So, but at the end of the day, 80-20 your customers, evaluate your customers, double down on the big fish, right? Those are the ones that are going to give you the biggest sources of income. They're probably also going to give you the most profit margin. Okay. All right. Some other quick tips I just wrote down here. Be patient. Let momentum work for you. And then also fight like hell to keep momentum. So again, like when you start growing like crazy and you start getting all these, extra little building blocks and you can really start to see like you add a couple customers, raise a couple rates, add a couple services. It's not linear, right? It's exponential. I don't know what that is, but if you add 2 services, raise your rates by 10% and add 10 new customers, quantify that. That's an extra $50,000, $100,000, $200,000 of revenue for your company. And again, everybody's like, I'm going to grow $200,000. And I'm like, how? Like, I'm going to grow by $200,000. I'm like, how? Quantify it. Well, let's go back to these little micro building blocks. And everybody's like, raising rates by, 7% or 10% is going to get me there. Listen, dude, I know it's like the not sexy answer. I mean, if you want me to make something, I'll make the masterclass course for $2,999. I'll give you a $3,000 2-hour coaching call. We'll do a Zoom and I will just pump you up. I'm not above it, I guess. Here it is. If you want me to charge you $3,000 to tell you just, dude, you can do it. Hey, holler at your boy. I'm building a barn. I need some extra money too. But it's just, I'm just being funny, but that's like, it's so stupid. The answers that people are looking for when the real answer is just little micro improvements. And it sounds so dumb because everybody in the world is just feeding you the opposite for a price. Fight like hell to keep momentum too. Like once you start growing, fight like hell to keep momentum too, because momentum is that multiplier, that compounding effect. Okay. What does that mean? It means ride that wave out as long as you can, double down on it as much as you can, reinvest as much as you can, whatever you can do to keep momentum and keep the wind to your sails. By the way, also know that if you lose it, you can get it back. Okay, momentum is something that you can absolutely get back, whether you're doing social media, whether you're doing your lawn care business, whether you're doing, you're working out, you get sick or you plateau and then you lose a couple weeks and you're like, oh, dude, I just went backwards 5-10%. You'll get it back. A couple weeks, couple months, getting reestablished, regaining momentum. Anybody can get back. There's times when my YouTube channel grows like crazy. There's times when it's flat. My YouTube channel is never one day ever. Since we got this thing rolling after about the first 6 months, we've never had a day where we went backwards on subscriber growth, subscriber count, or income. So you can always continuously grow and perpetuate. But there are times where the channel grows like crazy, and there's other times where it's flat and you're steady Eddie. And flat is still growing, but you know what I'm saying. It's no crazy growth, okay? All right, another one. We'll just wrap this up. I don't want this to be too long of an episode. Already had an hour, damn. Continuously add new hoses to fill up the pool, right? We talked about that at length here, but add new customers. I'll give you, for instance, like I have Launchpreneur Academy, which is a source of income for us, whatever. Like it's helping. I mean, dude, we've helped 10,000 people probably in 2022 with courses and contracts and resources and blah, blah, blah. Like we add a couple more. I didn't add, well, I guess I did add like 4 or 5, then I added 9, then I added like 16. I know that. Then last year we added a couple, like 3 or 4 big ones. It was 6 actually last year. This year I have 3 books I want to launch, a bunch of Spanish materials. I've got 6 or so courses that I want to launch by the end of the year. Little extra sources of income. They're helping people out. They're resources. They can help people grow, documents, courses, whatever. YouTube. We'll add another 100, 150 videos. That's little sources of income. Not any one video has ever made us rich, if you will, on YouTube. It's like this little one brings in $2 a day. This one brings in $4 a day. This one brings in $1 a day. You're like, well, that's pretty cool. When you have 1,000 videos making you $1 a day, what is that? $1,000 a day? We do not make $1,000 a day on YouTube. There's no way. Like we barely a tenth of that. But you know what I'm saying? Like if each one made 10 cents a day or $1 a day, and people like a vending machine, like each vending machine makes you have $4 true net profit per day, but you have 20 vending machines making $80 a day times 30 days. What is that? $2,400 true net profit per month. But people are like, no, dude, like I got to sell a real estate and sell a $900,000 home and get a 12 grand commission. That's fine. But when you're done selling a home, what do you got to go do? Sell another home. How many times do you have to reset up your vending machines? One time. one time. It's assets. You got to build these little micro assets. It can be YouTube videos. It can be Instagram pages. It can be lawn care customers. It can be, literally 10,000 things. Amazon affiliate links. You can do a tech review channel. I love tech review channels. I watch so many tech review channels. It's not even funny. Add those little things up, and over time they can start making a bunch of money. You do it once, keep paying you. Let's see. Keep adding new hoses to fill up the pool. Oh, here's a good one. I wrote this one down. Don't build a bigger pool until it's overflowing and you can't contain it. So a lot of people, this is like a lifestyle thing. Some people, they start making a little bit of money, they buy a nicer truck. Make a little bit of money, they buy a dump truck. They make a little bit of money, they build a shop. They buy a nicer, fancier car. They buy a nicer home. They eat out a little bit more, a little bit of lifestyle creep. I'm not opposed to lifestyle creep. I think lifestyle creep's okay, in my opinion. It's a lot nicer eating a steak from a steakhouse than it is eating a steak from Applebee's. It doesn't mean that you need to eat at a nice steakhouse 5 days a week when you start making $100,000 a year. I would advise against that. But it does mean you can, get the filet instead of the sirloin, at Applebee's or Longhorn or pick your place. Okay. But what I see a lot of people is, oh my God, the hoses are starting to bring in money. And we've got this, 5,000 gallon pool. The hoses are starting. Let's go. The pool is halfway. Let's go buy a 10,000 gallon pool. And it's like, bro, wait till that pool is filled up. Wait till that pool. There is a point where you should. I'm not telling you what to do. Where Liz and I made more money. We lived below our means. Then we made more money. We still lived below our means. We made more money. We still lived below our means. We paid off things. We put money in the bank. And what I'd like to see is, not only do you have that pool filled up, not only do you have the hoses going like crazy, but dude, you added 20 more hoses and water's leaking all over the place. Just flooding the backyard. And then you decide, let's excavate, let's build a bigger pool. But not until the pool is filled up. Not until you have so many things filling up the pool that I don't care if somebody went through with a side cutter and cut 10 of your hoses. You still have 38 other little hoses. Or if you have a lawn care landscaping business and you have 200 sources of income, 200 customers. And dude, even if something bizarre, stupid happens and the highway shuts down and you can't get to one side of your business and you lost 30 customers, but 170 are still going and you couldn't care less because you're diversified enough with customers and clients and revenue and work. It would be insignificant, but don't go from 100 customers to 200 customers and then double your lifestyle. Oh, I'm going to go get the diesel truck. Hey, let's put a couple $100,000 in the bank, then go do stupid stuff. Okay. All right. I said, don't build a bigger pool until it's overflowing and you contain it, and then wait a little bit more. Then you can decide to upgrade. Liz and I could have bought a home a year ago, 2 years ago, $300,000-$400,000 home. We're not fancy. We're not rich. Nothing like that. I mean, make $80,000 a year. You can go buy a $300,000-$400,000 home. We didn't. We decided to wait. We decided to wait. We probably overweight, to be honest with you, with a lot of our purchases. Well, I know we do. I had my Infiniti before I bought my Tesla. And if you're new to the show, I had a 2009 Infiniti G37X. I love that car. That was my first little entry luxury car. It was $25,000. It was $305 a month for 17 years. I paid it off. I loved it. It was a great little car. But when Liz and I moved, I guess we moved to our new apartment. And that car had 179,000 miles on it, which, in today's world, it's not super crazy, but it was 180,000 miles on it. It was breaking down every 6 to 8 weeks and every repair because it's a little Japanese thing. Special parts, special tools. There's a Euro place down the road from us. They couldn't work on it. It was a lot of dealer only parts, which was bullcrap. It was costing me $1,000 here, $1,500 there, $500 there. And it was just dilapidated. It got to the point where we bought Thunder, the 2017 red F-250 that I have, and we had that more as a daily driver going everywhere with my wife and I than we did with the Infiniti. By the time we actually sold it and traded it into the Tesla dealer to receive our Model X, that last 18 months, and I'm not making this up, we had moved it to a low mileage vehicle car with our insurance agency, State Farm, and we were paying dude, I don't know, $40 a month for full coverage because it was like a collector car that just sits, right? It wasn't a collector car. The only place I needed to collect it was the landfill. But that's how few miles we were putting on it per year. We were putting like 1,000 miles on it per year, maybe, right? And so that car it's still our Chariot. It was still our second car. I still loved it. We still drove it. We could have bought a Volvo. We could have bought a new Jeep. We could have bought something cool or fun or nice, or a nice Lexus, RX 350. We were having these conversations for like 2 years. Like, let's buy something. We need a new car. This thing like wouldn't start. It had electrical issues. I was going through batteries like crazy. Excuse me, my nose is running a little bit. But we didn't. We just kept banking income, living below our means. Banking income, living below our means. And people are like, oh, you're making money. And it's like, I'm not here to impress anybody. The goal was the Tesla. We could have bought a couple things along the way. We didn't. But that's my point. Like, live below your means and then decide to buy the nicer, cooler thing. When we traded that Infiniti, and some of you guys know the story from our second channel, Building It Together, we traded that car in and it literally died in the Tesla parking lot. I mean, DEAD, graveyard dead. The battery, the alternator, everything. It was dead. We turned it off. The lights were glowing. The lights were dimming. And I cut the engine because we had just imported the receiving of the Tesla into the Tesla app, which is how you do it. We got the keys. And as we were about to leave, they said, hey, really quick, we need to get the mileage off the Infiniti. I said, oh, yeah, sure. So I went to start it up. It's like 10 degrees out. And it wouldn't start. And the lady's like, well, I got to see it to like verify. I go, lady, had 179, 284. And she's like, okay. And I'm like, we just could not get it to start. So people are like, whoa, Fullerton, like, you're buying a Tesla or buying the truck or buying this or whatever. Like, you're living extravagantly. Like, bro, not even in the, like, we're trying to be conservative as possible and like be good stewards and be good examples for anybody that's listening in or anybody that's ever watching. We just want to make sure that we're doing it right. At any rate, we took delivery of that Tesla and we had, multiples in the bank of what it cost. And we were still living below our means ever since. So, I'm just trying to tell you guys like little helpful tips that maybe can help you guys get there. Don't grow your lifestyle until it's like solidified. And I mean like hardcore. All right, I said once all that's done, keep building, keep pruning, and keep protecting the goose. The goose that lays the golden egg, which is your business. That's pretty much where I'm going to wrap this podcast up. Here's the reality. Like, a lot of what people are doing today, let's just contrast this really quick. Look at the wealthiest people, the shiniest people, the flashiest people, the whatever people. They're not, what they're going to buy or do or get or acquire like externally and share on social media, I assure you, wasn't because of any grandiose decision, investment, purchase, activity that they did in 2023. If anybody bought something new or got something new or whatever, something cool in 2023, it's not because necessarily the real ones. It's not because of what they did in 2023. It's because of what they did in 2022, 2021, 2020, 2019, 2018, 2017, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. I'm telling you guys straight up. So here's the deal. If you're like, hey, 2023 is going to be the year I buy a Lamborghini, maybe I will believe you if I look at the habits and the patterns of how you're building little micro sources of income, building blocks of income, big blocks of income, I don't care, over the last 5, 6, 7, 8 years. Very unlikely are you going to go from 30 grand a year to 130 grand a year and just, blow past everybody. It's just not how it works. And so here's the encouraging word. And here's also the discouraging word. It's going to take you 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get to probably where you want to go. Whatever goal you just set in your brain and your New Year's resolution, you're like, dude, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. This is how most people set goals. I'm going to crush it and make $100,000 more in 2023. Those people ultimately will fail. Now, if you instead said to me, here's what I'm going to do to lay the foundation. I have a 5-year plan. Let's say you've never set a goal before, never set a resolution. You're serious about this thing and you want in your life to be completely different in 3 to 5 years. Okay, here's what you do. I'm going to start becoming a more successful person. I'm going to start becoming somebody who builds assets. I need to know what that is. I need to understand what that is. I need to get educated on whatever I use as my vehicle. It could be building a real estate, business and team. It could be a loan officer, and building a team. It can be social media and building a team. It can be, of course, your lawn and landscaping business and build a team. It can be your network marketing business and build a team, right? Whatever it is, you have to realize I want a certain goal. And this year, my income is going to go from $50,000 to $62,000. In year 2, because I'm still building, I'm laying the foundation, I'm reinvesting everything I can. Year 2, my income is going to go from $62,000 to $75,000. And your goal in 5 years was to go from $50,000 to $250,000. Well, year 3, I'm going to go from $75,000 to $69,000. And you went backwards. You went backwards on income. Why? Because you had to change some different things. Hire people, reinvest into some things, something didn't work out. We had something, a portion or a section or a group or something or a plan exploded, imploded, big L, rebuild. Okay. So it was kind of like a loss, but you still built the foundation. And here's the thing. We're 3 years into our 5-year game plan and we went from 80,000 down to 69,000. We went backwards. We're, 2/3, half to 2/3 going into 3/4 on our 5-year game plan. And we're only still at 1/3 of the income, right? Like we only made 70,000 when the goal was to make 250. I only made 1/4 of what I need to be at. And I'm half to 2/3 through the timeline. We'll never hit our goal, right? It's just like building a house. We're going to build a house. And I've heard this from hundreds of people. You lay the foundation, you build the framing, all this stuff. Like a lot happens and nothing happens. A lot happens and nothing happens. And during the time when nothing's happening, a lot is actually happening. Materials are getting ordered, cabinets are getting built, your appliances are getting shipped in, the roofing material's coming, the trusses are coming, all the windows are coming. And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 like all this stuff happens overnight. And then boom, 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 those last 3 months, everything comes together. The drywall, the taping, the mudding, the painting, the furniture, the appliances, the windows are typically loaded in by then, but the trim work, the final flooring, right? And like out of nowhere, it all comes together at the last second. Year 4, you make 110,000, and then year 5, you make 250,000 or whatever, right? Pick your number. It could be 10x that. It could be 1/10 of that. I don't care. But I'm just telling you, the people that are like, I've said this before on a podcast, I'm going to buy a Lamborghini this year, or I'm going to buy like a Lamborghini next year. And I'm like, probably not. You probably won't. What I would say is look for the Lamborghini model after the one you're shopping for, because that's probably when you're going to buy it if you haven't been serious about it yet. I said that 5 years ago. I've said that to many people 5 years ago. I know I said it on my podcast 3 years ago. I'll give you, for instance, Lamborghini is phasing out the Huracan. In 2024, there will be a new Lamborghini model. I was on the phone with Lamborghini the other day. I said, yo, what up, though? Tell me about this new car. I'm not saying I'm buying a Lamborghini. Nothing like that. We are far from it. Building a house, we're building a barn. But in 2 years, 12 to 18 months, that's when that car comes out. And you have to put a $5,000 deposit down typically. Then you get on the list. Then you got to get interviewed and qualified and all this other mess. It takes 12 to 18 months for that car to come in. Lamborghini's stock is through the roof. They're crazy popular right now. Like so many people are getting wealthy. You get wealthy in depressions. You don't get wealthy in upsides. You get wealthy in downside. Typically, people that make their wealth, they make their money in these kind of markets because people are selling their assets for pennies on the dollar. And so wealthy people can continue to, they press in. This is the time to press in, not pull out. And so anyway, I was telling Liz, I'm like, dude, if we keep on the trajectory that we are, and if we keep crushing it with our lawn care business, and if we continue to help more people with our social media business, and if we get, some real estate investments going in 2023 and 2024, I said there could be a time in 12, 18, 24 months when I can put a deposit down. And I can wait another 12 to 18 months for that to come in and, of course, build for another 2-3 years. And there could be a time when I could be able to afford something like that. I said, but if you want to buy that new Lamborghini model that's going to replace the Huracan, and I'm just talking honestly, dude. Like, I'm just telling, like, I want cool stuff, just like you guys listening in. Like, I work my, what off. I want nice things. I want to buy a cool freaking Lamborghini one day just to say I did it, just to do it, just to have fun with it, right? and this isn't about the Lambo, okay? Like, trust me, in the early stages, Liz and I had to pay rent. We were broke. We had debt collectors showing up on Easter like 7 years ago. Literally, boom, 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 knock on the door. Who is it? It's Easter. You know, it's like, oh, hey, open up, debt collector. We literally owed like an $800 bill for a health bill from years before. This is like, dude, 6-7 years, maybe 6-7 years ago, maybe. I'm just telling you how fast your life can change. Not because of YouTube. I'm telling you, like, just running your lawn and landscaping business. Like, we still run a great lawn and landscaping business. I'm so proud of it this year. Rob texted me at 12:05, midnight, 12:05, the next morning on New Year's night, the other night. And he goes, I should pull it up. He said, dude, we had the best year ever. I cannot wait to see what 2023 is going to bring in store. And he did money bag, the money sign, that's got the wings and the waving, and the congratulations emoji. He knows. We're going to kill it in 2023. We're going to do what we did again and then some. But here's my point. Let's go back to just to wrap up that thought with the Lambo. Like, people are like, I'm going to buy a Lambo this year or next year. Probably not. You're probably going to buy the model after that comes out. Now, normally they cycle through car, chassis and designs every 4 or 5 years, like especially domestics. The Huracan ran for, I don't know, probably a good, what would you guys say, 10 years? Maybe since like 07, 08, 09 when it replaced the Gallardo or Gallardo, right? And when I was like building my company, I was like, dude, I love the Huracan so much. It's the coolest freaking car ever. Like, I'm going to cry because I call him and he's like, yeah, like, so we're discontinuing that car. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I've just been working 6, 7 years. I haven't slept for 6 years. He has to take care of my wife. He has to take care of the kids. He has to take care of buy the house and the barn and all that crap. And crap being a good thing. But I was like, dude, maybe there's an inkling that I could get something like this. And he goes, yeah, we're actually discontinuing it. And I'm like, why? Why would you discontinue it? And then he's like, yeah, we're actually going to a V8 with an e-tron system. And I'm like, no, I hate electric vehicles. I have an electric vehicle. I love my Tesla, but I don't want that for a sports car. He's like, well, it's going to be pretty cool. I'm like, I don't care. I want a V10 or a V12 something, 6 inches behind my ears, blaring at 7,000, 9,000 RPM. He's like, I get it. He goes, but the electronic with the dual clutch, with the the boost, with until the turbo kicks. I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I might as well just get a 4-year-old by then, 5-year-old Lambo Huracan, if that's going to be the case. And I thought that for a long time, for about a couple weeks, and now I'm like, you know what? The new one will probably be cool, and I'll probably eat my own words. But anyway, if that car becomes available in 14, and I can put a deposit down late 14 or 15. And then it takes another 12, 18 months to come in. We're talking 3+ years out still from now, right? 3 years out from now. And I'll be like 39 and a half. I told Liz, I'm like, hey, there's a chance that I could buy my 39 and a half, not yet pre-life, midlife crisis car when I turn 40. Okay, it's either, I said, if you're going to get a Corvette, you might get a Super Snake. I said, if you can't get the Super Snake, or you're going to get that, you might as well get a Z01, whatever, the new C8 Corvette. I said, if you're going to get the C8 Corvette, you might as well get an Audi R8. And if you're going to get an Audi R8, you might as well get a Lambo Huracan. If you're going to get the Lambo Huracan, you might as well get the 610-4. If you're going to get the 610-4, you might as well get the Performante. If you're going to get the Performante, you might as well just get a used Aventador for $5. It's so stupid, right? So Liz goes, uh-huh. She goes, right. She goes, this is part of your master plan the whole time, isn't it? I go, bro. I said, we're making the money for a reason. You don't get to take any of it with you. I said, Tigran got one. You know what I'm saying? I'm just messing. Shout out to T. But I said, look, if I order this thing when I'm 38 and a half and it takes 12 months to come in and I'm 39 and a half, I can get it before my 40-year-old midlife crisis, which I won't have one because I already have a purpose for my life. And what happens at 40 is when you don't have a purpose. You have income, but you don't have purpose and you don't have a legacy, right? You've been chasing success, not significance. The best part about doing what I do with my lawn and landscaping business is that we get to chase success and significance because we like to take care of our customers. And then also with our social media, we get success, financial reward, and then we also have significance, aka legacy, because we're helping people. So there's no dissonance. Like, we're not exhausted from creating content. We're reinvigorated, we're recharged from both businesses. I enjoy what I do. I love helping people. That's my calling in lawn care in my community, and then that's also my calling on my social media content. That's what I believe, and I feel like we're in the flow, and it's been working out pretty well. But my point is, people are like, I'm going to get a Lamborghini this year. Let's get a Lamborghini next year. I'm like, it's probably going to take you 5 or 6 years to build something to be able to provide an income to potentially buy a car like that. Now, you could do it in 2 or 3. It also might take you 20 or 30. Also, if you get the Lambo, great. Or you could take that extra income, sow it into the ground, sow it into fertile soil, let that compound again, and in 5 or so more years, you can buy an Aventador. So instead of taking that $1 million or whatever that car cost, get an Aventador SVJ, you resow it, and in 5 or 10 more years, you can have a Bugatti. We're talking about building an income, building a business. So you're buying more doors, you're buying more, you're having more lawn customers, you're having more Jimmy John's franchises, right? But people are like, well, I want to get a Bugatti. It's like, dude, it's not how it works. You have to have these. You ask a guy who owns a Bugatti, I guarantee you he's got 100,000 somebody's doing something, or 10,000 somebody's, or 5,000 this is, or 200 franchises, or 1,000 employees doing something. Like, it was just adding one little building block every day, and they still are. I guarantee you that they still are, right? Somebody said once is you can count how many seeds are in an apple, but you can't count how many apples are in a seed. Right? Because if I open up an apple and there's 10 seeds in there, great. But if I take that seed and I sow that seed, it's going to create an apple tree. And then that apple tree, there's thousands of apples that have 10 seeds inside. And that's hundreds of thousands of seeds. And I take those hundreds of thousands of seeds and I sow those seeds and I make hundreds of thousands of trees that make tens of millions of apples. Right? And everybody wants to go trade in this apple for a Lambo. And it's like, dude, it's just not how it works. Like, it's not like you get one new customer today and you get to go buy a Lambo tomorrow. You have to let this thing compound for a couple of years. That's the secret. That's what's worked for me. I don't know if that can help you. I'm just telling you, that's all I did these last 5 or 6 years. We got more loan customers. We got better pricing on our loan customers. We paid off debt. We increased profits. We stayed steady. We didn't get distracted. We didn't buy stupid stuff. YouTube. Every day we added a couple subs, added a video a couple of days a week, and just let that compound. And we don't make the most money with our YouTube channel. There's people that have bigger YouTube channels, make way more money than me. Like, dude, for sure. Like, we're just steady Eddie. We just try to provide real, authentic lawn care, tips and tricks, and helpful reviews. Social media, Instagram. I've made 5,000 posts on Instagram or whatever it is now over, 48 months. Every day I made 3 or 4 posts. And then the last 12, 18 months, maybe 1 or 2 posts a day, right? Because I had to ramp it up. The podcast. We have 450, 500 episodes. All that was 3 episodes a week for 3 or 4 years. People are like, Fullerton, what's the secret? I'm like, just be consistent over time. Do a little bit of work, or do a moderate amount of work consistently over time. I can't dunk a basketball. I can't throw an 80-yard pass. I can't ski down a slalom down a course. I can't do a bunch of stuff, but I can just be consistent, do a moderate amount of work, understand them doing building blocks, and just be patient. And at the right time, you can drop the hammer and go buy some watches. Drop the hammer and go on a nice trip. Drop the hammer and go buy a nicer car. Drop the hammer and go buy a barn. Drop the hammer and go buy a house. The secret is to not be envious, not be jealous, not be distracted, not be petty, not be, not controlling your words. A lot of people, the reason your harvest hasn't came up is because, number one, you're spraying weed killer all over your seed, but you're also spraying weed killer all over everybody else's seed. That'll get a bunch of you guys' goose out there. I'll tell you that. There's so many people out there, maybe not you guys, but other people that are just poo-pooing on other people's parade. And they're just, not only they're outwardly, spitting venom, which they're just sowing discourse, but then number two, you're like, it'll never work for me. I never get the breaks. I never get lucky. Nobody ever signs up with me. I never get anything. My YouTube channel will never grow. My lawn care business never succeeds. I never get good snow accounts. Woe is me. My life sucks. People don't understand how bad I have it. I have it worse than anybody. And lo and behold, your life is a reflection of that. And then you want to do a coaching call and say, hey man, how can I fix my situation? I'm like, I don't know. You just sowed a whole field full of negativity. What kind of harvest do you think is going to come up? And then you want me to go out there, and spray my little hose and try to fertilize your field and clean it up? Like, bro, it doesn't work like that. It takes years to toil, years of tilling up this soil to get what you need to do to have the result you want. All right. So in which way, that's my, that's the best way I can lay it out, man. There's your building blocks for success. I don't know if this helps you. It's an open mic therapy session. I'm thinking to myself, what's the most honest thing I can say that can help you guys grow in 2023, this is what I got. All right. If you guys like the show, leave me a 5-star rating review, show some love. And that's what I got for you guys today. Have a beautiful, happy new year. Have a great start to the week. Come check out Building It Together on YouTube. We got some new videos coming. Check out Brian's Lawn Maintenance YouTube channel. Appreciate the support there. Over now, guys. Have the best 2023 ever. If you need anything, reach out, say hey. Always here to help you guys grow.
Hey guys, it's Ben at True Pro Lawn Works. I just wanted to take a minute to thank Brian and L'Entrepreneur Academy for putting together his residential and commercial service contracts. These have been a game changer for me and my clients in terms of management of expectations, responsibilities, and professional appearance. I get great client feedback about the clear presentation my business extends with these. There's no legalese, no jargon to translate, just clear expectations of both sides. It's plug and play and fully editable. If you're concerned about potential liability or unclear duties, or just want to stand out as a professional, then check out Brian's plug and play documents at L'Entrepreneuracademy.com.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.